Songs in the Night, September 25th. The chosen text from Psalms 130, verses 5 and 6. I wait for the Lord, my soul doth wait, and in his word do I hope. My soul waiteth for the Lord, more than they that watch for the morning. I say, more than they that watch for the morning. Explanation. In every experience of the sorrow and distress, and when the strain of the jarring records and the stinging vexations and wounds that make the heart bleed, they threaten to overlame the spirit, let the child of God remember that he knows and loves and cares, and that his ministering angel is ever near us, and that no trial will be permitted to be too severe. The dear Master is standing by the crucible, and the furnace heat will never be permitted to grow so intense that the precious gold of our characters shall be destroyed or even injured. Ah, no! If by His grace the experience may not work for our good, they shall be turned aside. He loves us too well to permit any needless sorrow, any needless suffering. Reprint number 5802, hymn number 12. Amen.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we're focusing on something very specific. It's a reflective source, really centered on, patience, hope, endurance, especially when things get incredibly tough. We're kind of digging into the coping mechanism here.
Right. And it's not gentle about it. It starts immediately with this intense idea of waiting, using Psalm 130.
Yeah.
The line that really hits is, my soul waiteth for the Lord more than they that watch for the morning.
Wow. That imagery
is powerful, isn't it? That sort of desperate waiting for dawn after a long, dark night. That's the starting point.
Yeah, that urgency really sets the tone. So this deep dive isn't about everyday stress. It's more a framework for managing overwhelming suffering.
Yeah.
And it moves fast from just waiting to actually enduring. So what kind of pain are we talking about here? What does the source acknowledge?
Well, it's surprisingly direct. It talks about sorrow and distress, during discords, and even things it calls stinging vexations and wounds, stuff that can, genuinely threaten to just break your spirit. It gets that, it's real messy stuff.
Okay, so it acknowledges the depth of the pain. When someone's in that really dark place, what's the first thing, the immediate anchor?
The very first instruction directed at the child of God is this immediate assurance. You have to remember, it says, that the Lord knows and loves and cares.
Knows, loves, and cares.
Exactly. And crucially, that a ministering angel is ever near us. It's like establishing right away, you're not alone in this. That's the foundation.
Okay, that makes sense. But simple belief isn't always enough, right? So how does it go from that baseline faith to an actual, system for handling the pain? Is this where that furnace idea comes in? The master by the crucible?
Precisely. The trial is called the crucible. That pot used for testing metals with intense heat. The key image is the master standing by it.
Standing by, okay.
Yeah, suggesting total real-time control. And here's the fascinating part. The specific limit. It says no trial will be permitted to be too severe.
So the suffering, it's calibrated, not just random.
Exactly. It's strictly managed within this framework.
But isn't a controlled trial almost scarier? If it's designed, how does the source make that comforting?
It focuses entirely on the purpose of the heat. It's framed as refinement, like making something better, not destroying it.
Refinement, okay.
Yes. The text is explicit. The heat won't get so intense that the precious gold of our characters shall be destroyed or even injured. The whole point is purification. To prove the gold's value, not ruin the metal itself. It's about resilience, fundamentally.
And there's a specific reference mentioned, reprint 5802, about a final guarantee. Why bring that specific point in?
It locks down the protective framework. It leaves absolutely zero doubt. The final promise is, if any experience may not work for our good, it gets turned aside. Simple as that.
Turned aside, wow.
Yeah. The whole system, according to this source, rests on divine love. A love too well, it says, to permit any needless sorrow, any needless suffering. And draws a Very clear line. Necessary refinement? Yes. Pointless pain? No.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, the listener, what this deep dive shows is, well, a really powerful mental strategy. This framework views suffering not as random chaos, but as functional, carefully limited heat. It basically gives permission to endure because it insists every trial has a boundary and a purpose, turning that difficult experience into precious gold.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to maybe reflect on. If every intense challenge is seen this way as a controlled, refining fire, what core assumption does this whole framework have to make about your inherent worth, about the potential, the resilience of the character being tested?